Hey everyone, let's repurpose some content. So one of the best use cases for AI is to get it to take existing content and then use it in different ways. So if you've created a blog post and you want to get social media out of it, if you want to turn it into a YouTube script, if you want to turn it into anything, I guess like it can basically be repurposed in any way you want. These are some of the ways that I do it. So the link reader plugin was the best option, but for some reason it's gone. So the closest second one I found from my tests is this Web Pilot one that is a free plugin in the plugin store. I don't know why they call it a store because they're free, but whatever. So we're going to turn that on in GPT-4. If you do not have GPT-4, what you're going to have to do is copy and paste the article in. And the problem with that is if it's a very long article, it might be too long for GPT. So what I would do then is take pieces of it and have it summarize piece by piece until we get a condensed, summarized version of the post. Alternatively, you can just feed it the outline, but for like repurposing in this way, typically we want it to pull actual content from the page. So with the Web Pilot one enabled, I'm going to basically just pop in a command and then also give it a link. So, hey ChatGPT, please act as an expert social media manager. I need you to write 10 tweets that are highly engaging and will inspire either clicks or comments for this post. And then we just paste the URL and hit enter, and then it's going to run the plugin. You'll see, there you go. So it's using Web Pilot to read the post and get some information about it. So this does take a little bit longer. You have to, I don't know, go get a coffee quickly from your kitchen while you're waiting for it. But this is the best way to have it actually read the whole post to repurpose. So I'm a big fan of it. And so now here you can see it is pulling extra information. Now, are these great tweets? Not massively, in my opinion. I don't think I've ever used a hashtag on Twitter, but maybe that's just because I'm not great at social media. I'm gonna put that out there right now. So if you do know these things better than I do, and you're like, okay, actually, what would work better on Twitter is creating a thread about this or creating something more specific. We would just ask it to do something more specific. So here we've got our 10. And so what we could do if we want to, I don't know why this one always like puts a little like pop-up image of it at the end, but whatever. If we want to repurpose this and basically say like, actually, this is what a good tweet is. So let's just say, actually, an engaging tweet is typically longer, pulls a sentence or quote from the piece, and might even be a thread. Please try again. And I could definitely train it on some examples. I don't currently have examples at my fingertips, so we're going to use this. Basically, the point of this, though, is that it's able to read the content and then be able to adjust it. So just like with any prompt, we then need to prompt it and actually teach it how to do the thing if it doesn't know. So here you can see it pulled a quote. Guest posts have been around since long before I started blogging 6 years ago. They're a way to share authority, experience, and audiences. Is that great? No, definitely not. I think this one is definitely better. This guest posting is the #1 way I grew my DA of my blog and started ranking for high volume keywords. Want to know how? Check out this comprehensive guide on accepting guest posts the right way. The interesting thing is the intent there is wrong. I think that's a good idea. Unfortunately, the point of this piece is accepting guest posts on your site, not giving them to someone else. So some of the other quotes I think are definitely better. But I think this is a much better job. So yeah, that's not what a thread is, but fair. It tried. And to be fair, this is the thing. I did not give it good constructive feedback on how to make a better version of this. So that's fine. As y'all know from the prompting area, we need to give it way more information. And in our prompt library, there are better prompts about this. I'm just trying to show you that you can repurpose it. Let's just say, great. Now, what are 5 newsletter ideas I could send to my audience to promote this? They should be general emails that I can naturally link to this post in. And so very quickly, you're going to be able to take this piece and then turn it into newsletter content, into Instagram. I mean, you could even make reels out of it technically if you have it like condense it really intensely or create you a script, but more likely descriptions for images or for carousels or something. You could have tweets out of it. You could get Facebook posts out of it, LinkedIn posts. I don't use LinkedIn, so I have no idea of the technicalities of what they prefer. You could, instead of having maybe one blog post, maybe you want to repurpose for another. I don't know why you would, but maybe. So this gives you a ton of options. Now, another thing that's common for people, we'll look at these in a second, is to actually repurpose things and turn them into a blog post. So for example, if you have a transcript from a YouTube video and you want to turn it into a blog post, that's a completely separate repurposing. Like repurposing a blog post to other things is one method, and then we'll go over in a second how to repurpose something like a transcript into a blog post. So here we have the power of collaboration. So got us a little bit about like connecting with people, content, dive into the history of guest posting and its benefits. Definitely not doing a historical deep dive. That sounds terrible and like a lot of weird research that I don't think would actually work. Okay. I think this one's interesting. Yeah, the one thing is that like I think it's misunderstanding what I mean by guest posting. To be fair, I did not tell it. Sometimes the reader will like look more at general markers of the post and not as much at like the specifics, I guess, of your opinion on the thing. So I think the do's and don'ts is probably a good one. Value of backlinks, our experience with guest posting. I think like these are good options. So definitely doable. And then I would pick one and start writing a newsletter in my normal newsletter method. There's a lesson on that with it following this. So if we want to repurpose content that is from a transcript of something, we need a transcript first of all. So let's say you go to your own YouTube channel. Let me just open mine up and we'll just open this one I just recorded. Then we'll come over here, show transcript, and then we're just going to copy the whole transcript. There we go. I always go too far. So now we have a transcript. It's probably going to be too long, so let's just test it out. But I'm going to say, please read this transcript. When you're done, say read. And we'll see if it gets mad at me. No, it's not that long. Perfect. Okay, so now that it's read the transcript, this is where we're going to start repurposing. So you can either have it start off by summarizing key points, giving you some key features, and like creating even a bullet point list of like what's important from the above, or you can go in a different direction and have it like break this down into an outline. So what I prefer to do is I think the outline version makes more sense. With YouTube videos especially, we usually like build in our own chapter markers. So you can even say, like, break it up with these headers. There it is. Great. Now please act as an expert blog post writer. We are going to turn this transcript into a blog post. To start, I need you to break it up into headers at the following timestamps. And then using Markdown, please make the headers H2. And this is just going to give us like smaller sections that we can work with. Oh, it wants to do code. No, I don't want code. Let's see if it comes out of that. Sometimes it does this. I just find the code like annoying to copy. No, it's not going to come out of it. So let's just come back up and we'll just say, please make the headers H2, and we'll remove the markdown. There we go. Okay. So now it's going to like just start writing the actual blog post for some reason. If on she knows. Love its attempt to say she knows, but okay. And so now what we're getting here is kind of a summary of each section that we're then going to be able to actually adapt into a blog post. And so this is where we're then going to use like rewrite essentially and start rewriting these sections with the prompt of like what a good blog post is. Going back to like the blog post lesson, that's where we're working with now. So this is a quick and easy way to repurpose content from other places and turn it into a blog post. So we're almost using it like a very, very, very bad first draft, I guess, because it's definitely not complete. A lot of it's referencing things on screen that people can't see. So this is going to be things that we have to adjust. So what we would do is then I would start piece by piece, take the introduction. Great. Now from this introduction, please take this, and I don't know why I don't know, awkward phrasing, but whatever. Please take this and rewrite it to be an introduction for a blog post about SEO calculators. Use the keyword SEO calculator in the first sentence. Blog post is for, I don't know. We're just gonna like start making up customer avatars. Millennial entrepreneurs who have websites. I can never spell millennial right. And want to get on track with their SEO strategy. The post will be about telling them how they can use these calculators to do so and the importance of having a strategy. So we've got the who, we've got the what, we've got kind of the why and how, but then I want to go more into the how. So like a good introduction uses the SPEAR framework for intros, which states that you should address the pain points of your user, know your audience. Try to summarize it off the top of my head. Match search intent, reference your experience. I've been an SEO for 2 years, and build rapport with your audience by speaking to them like a friend in a helpful way. Please use a casual and informative tone. Cool. So now we got something there. Obviously, just wrote that really quickly. So you would want to reference your specifics. You'd want to feed it more information, but we just want to use this for an example. Otherwise, you'll be here all day watching me try to figure out how to spell millennial. I also should have corrected it on she knows. My bad. So to me, that's a bit long, and I love that it's asking, how's that for an intro? So then I would change it for sure. I would ask it to, first of all, actually use the keyword in the first sentence, which it didn't do. I definitely shortened this a bit. I think it really loves saying like, let's dive in. And I also don't know that I need to refer to them as friend. I find that awkward when it's like, hi, friend, just feels weird and like, I don't know. Reminds me of the uncanny valley somehow. I don't really know how to explain that, but it does. So I would reduce this. I would clarify what She Knows SEO is. I should have actually said like, this is for the brand She Knows SEO. But yeah, you can see we've gotten a much better introduction out of that than the one that we had here. That really was very, very, very short and more about like introducing a video. So then you're just going to build on it. You're going to build extra things into your outline if you want them. You're going to build out the content just the way you would with any other blog, using the basis that it gave you here as kind of the research for that section of extra information you want it to include. So you can have it expand on that section. You can tell it to rewrite it in a different tone of voice. All of that is going to work here to allow you to repurpose what already exists into something else. Now, something that some people find problematic is taking the tone of voice of the conversation and putting it into a blog post. So you can actually take this section of your intro. I find intros is like where you're your most kind of casual, and you can ask, what is the tone of voice of this piece? And then just have it tell you the tone of voice it identifies to help you figure out how you would make it actually sound. So if I was prompting ChatGPT to try and make this exact tone of voice without teaching it my style, what I would do is pull these specific keywords. Clearly, this is what it feels I need to, like this is what it decides these things relate to. So if I include these and say this is the tone of voice, or even use that to set my custom instructions, it's going to have a better chance of actually mimicking my tone. I do find that the best way to do that is to have it like in your style. And so when I'm repurposing stuff, like with the calculators, when I finish this section and get it like in a good spot, I'll actually take it out of here into a new chat. I know there's a lot happening. So I'll take it out of here into a new chat, and I will define my style there with something else and have it rewrite this in my style just to get that last like oomph of Nina-isms into it and get it to be a little bit more like me. And then I'm going to do more editing to whatever I need to adjust it. There's always like a little bit of change you're going to need to make to the tone and to, I don't know, there's always something little. Maybe that is just me being a control freak, but I always feel like there's some little thing I want to just like kind of tweak a touch. Like, I don't know that I would ever say who's been in the trenches. It just feels weird to me. So you could equally just keep talking to it until you get to that point. But sometimes it's like one little thing, easy to switch. So that's how I repurpose content. I don't do social media, so I don't repurpose constantly at all. If you do, you will know way better about like what a good version of an Instagram description is. I literally have not used them, and so I just learned I'm supposed to, and I was like, great, that's helpful, wish I'd known. Probably still won't do it, to be honest with you. For tweets, like I just write them when I'm bored, so I have not studied anything of like what a good version of that stuff is. That's where the trading comes in. So you're going to have to bring your knowledge and understanding of those things to it to make it even better. You can also like have it read, and that's one really great use case of the link reader, have it read an article talking about best practices and then have it summarize best practices so you can template that and then use it again and again and again and again for it to give you the best result. And because those are ever changing, like what is best practice for Pinterest a year ago is not best practice for Pinterest now, you're going to need to update that over time. So it is a good option to like know how to find that. So you would just like Google whatever, like, how to write a Pinterest pin description. Then you go into new chat and then let's just do it. Why not? How to write a Pinterest pin description. And so if like this one's a pretty good outline, so you probably could just take the outline of this. However, I would definitely feel better about knowing that I've gotten everything. So I would say, please summarize how to write the perfect pin description in actionable steps or with actionable tips for a user. And then it's going to use this plugin, the Web Pilot, to generate something for us. And then we can keep asking it questions, which is really cool. So it's going to run and tell us what, based on this, it sees the actionable steps as. And this is what I like, is where it gives me like a little bit of context. That's kind of why I want this, like utilize the full character count. I didn't know what the character count was. So that's really helpful. And now this is the kind of thing that you would just like copy and paste into a prompt to explain it to ChatGPT as to like what the structure should be. So I can say, great, now, or can you, what do I want to say? So sorry, I just had like 8 thoughts literally simultaneously. So you could ask it to be like, great, now that you know that, apply it to this post. Or now that you know that, give me an example, or whatever. Or now that you know that, here's like some additional things that I do personally. Maybe like you always add an emoji. Maybe you always, maybe you never use a certain term. Maybe yours always include a certain term because it's part of your brand identity. Whatever. But what I was intending to do initially, before I had my 8 simultaneous thoughts, is ask more questions. So you can actually, like, it'll know all the information here. So then you can have a conversation. Great, how do I find, what was it? Great keywords on Pinterest itself. And so here it's going to pull some information from that post that it read, but it might also add in like a little bit that it knows generally from online. But search bar, analyzing search results, the auto suggest, and the related pins were all in that post. I think so was competition. I think the one that they seemed to focus on the most was the auto suggest feature from that really quick skim that I did. So this is going to give me a little bit more information, and then I can just keep asking questions about like how to do this all better. But if I just want to train ChatGPT to write a pin, I would just copy this when I'm telling it like how to write that pin description. This is how, and then it can run from there. So it's a very simple way to distill the information of something like this, potentially take what you already know, but just phrase it in a different way. If it's your own post, very easy to just take this and have it read it and kind of get your rules and then create rules for itself from that. So that's how you can repurpose this and train it a bit better on that information. This also works for podcast descriptions as well as like the YouTube video one that we just did. You can, where is it? I've already lost track of all of these. I think it's this one, and it's just decided not to load right now. Glitches happen. But yeah, basically you can also do it for podcast descriptions or transcripts and have it like turn the transcript into a blog post. I would always take anything from a video or a podcast and then adjust. So like you definitely need different section headers and titles and sections for SEO and for user experience than you would if it's just text or for me, just video or just voice. So add those elements as you go. When you do the outline, you can also just have it like based on, well, it's not going to load, but based on reading what the main points of the transcript are, you could have it turn that into an outline first. And then you can adjust the outline, add more, and then have it kind of take notes from the transcript and put them into those sections. It's harder to get that one to work. So I typically work off of the other system I did, and then I would create an outline after that with those pre-summarized sections, and then I can just move those sections around. Basically, I want to do whatever I'm manipulating, I want to manipulate as close to the prompt where I first gave it to ChatGPT. So when I put the transcript in, I want to make changes to the transcript or move the transcript around in prompts closer to it than like doing 20 other things and then risking it forgetting half of the transcript. even though it's got a pretty good memory to like read back, it's, I don't know, it can glitch. And so I'd rather, I don't know, it's just like with a human, do it when it's fresh in their mind. And I don't want to reprompt it or reteach it that transcript. So I'm gonna, which like isn't hard to be honest, you would just copy and paste it again. But I am lazy, so I want to do it as concisely as possible. And yeah, that is how you repurpose your content with ChatGPT so that you can use it absolutely anywhere. It's pretty simple once you do it a couple times, and especially once you've trained it on your style for however you're repurposing it. Just that way it has a better sense of like how it should do the job well for you. And yeah, I hope you guys use this and have some fun getting tons of different content out of one piece and maybe actually using social media, unlike me.